The story starts in a desolate city. Linz is running fast towards a boat, trying to save his life. He's one of the few people who've survived this deadly virus so far. About 20 years ago, a lethal virus wiped out the entire world. In no time, cities became ghost towns and human civilization was on the brink of collapse. Those who survived scattered across different parts of the world. One of the safe places was an island called Helgoland, located in the middle of the ocean, where 513 people are still somehow living in peace. The island was so far from the rest of the world that the virus hadn't reached there yet. Now Linus and his companions, dressed in protective suits, had come to meet a man who had rare medicines. These medicines were worth more than a kilo of gold and meant the difference between life and death for the people of Helgoland. But during this mission, Linus got separated from his group. His companions waited for him for a long time, but when he didn't come back, they had no choice but to leave him behind and return to Helgoland. Meanwhile, Linus was running towards Vibod. A survivor tries to stop him because they hated the people from Helgoland. Linus somehow dodges him, climbs up to a high spot, and just in time jumps onto the boat. But right then, a guy named Mozik jumps after him. The guards react immediately, shoot Mozik, and he falls into the water. Then the guards notice a scratch on Linus's hand and start suspecting he might be infected. Without wasting any time, they knock him out with a tranquilizer, and Linus passes out. When he comes to, Linus quietly hides the vaccine bottle. After being brought to the island, he is thoroughly sanitized and kept in quarantine for a few days. During this time, his father Mark, a scientist who used to work on the island, comes to see him. Linus somehow manages to give him the vaccine so Mark can continue his research. Meanwhile, guard Hans is also put in quarantine because a man attacked him while bringing medicines from Earl. At that moment, some of the man's blood splattered on Hans's face. Now returning, after that he kept coughing continuously. When Mark examines him, he notices strange rashes all over his body. Then Mark tests the vaccine brought by Linus and finds out that it's genuine. This is the vaccine with the right formula against the virus. Mark tells this to Beatrice, the island's leader, and suggests sending another team of guards there because there are a lot of vaccines stored in that place. But Beatrice refuses, saying that 2 people are already in quarantine after the last mission, so she doesn't want to take any more risks. Mark says they should give Hans a fake vaccine instead of the real one, and Mark agrees. Meanwhile, in Earl's area, the survivors find a dead body in the river with a vaccine in his pocket. Earl immediately tells Mozik's crew to get the word out. Elsewhere, a guy named Henriks is shown. He was left to die outside the island for breaking Helgoland's rules. Inside that infected city, he meets a woman named Walima who has a lot of sanitizer. People trade stuff with her in exchange for sanitizer. They used to protect themselves from the virus. Henrik had nothing to give. He only had a ring, which Walima refused to accept. Then Henrik comes up with a plan. He starts taking off his clothes, singing and dancing, and manages to impress Walima. Impressed, Walima gives him new clothes and takes him to her home. They talk all day, but at night, when she's showing him her secret chamber, Henrik attacks her and kills her to take her place. Meanwhile, Beatrix is talking to Lisa about her bravery. She praises him and promises to give her husband a better, more luxurious life. Lisa feels happy hearing this. Later, Beatrice publicly shows that Lisa agrees with Henrik's punishment. In the end, Mark gets Jorid's help to restart his research in the lab. When they open the boxes sent by Earl, they find 2 infected people inside. Jorid is shocked to see this, but Mark explains that he made a deal with Earl so he could continue his research. Actually, Earl controls the areas outside the island. There was control, and when needed, people used to trade goods with him. After that, Mark takes both infected people to his lab and tests his vaccine on them first. But soon after, both of them die, which clearly shows that the vaccine isn't fully effective yet. Meanwhile, Lise starts showing rashes on his body, meaning he's also infected with the virus, but he keeps it a secret from everyone. On the other hand, Beatrice announces guard Hans's death to the entire island and blames it on the guard blames Maya for everything. Although Maya denies it, when Beatrice holds a vote among the people, most of them vote against Maya. This causes her points on the leaderboard to drop significantly. The leaderboard was a system that ranked all 513 people on the island. If someone did something good or bad, their ranking would go up or down. Every year, the person at the very bottom was sentenced to death. Now, let's look at Fiona, who was reporter Laura's daughter. Fiona steps in to help Mian. She starts coughing on purpose, so people think she's infected and get scared, easing the pressure on Mian. But it doesn't help at all. A few hours later, Beatrice calls a meeting, cuts down Mian's points, and warns Laura that if Fiona does that again, her ranking will also be lowered. The next day, Fiona suddenly starts vomiting. Her mom, Laura, gets worried and takes her to nurse Lily. After checking, Lily tells her that Fiona is pregnant. Hearing this, Laura is shocked because if everyone finds out, their reputation and ranking will both take a hit. So Laura tells Lily to get rid of the baby. Hearing this, Fiona storms off in anger. Later, Lily gives Laura some medicine and tells her to somehow give it to Fiona to end the pregnancy. Laura pretends to support her daughter and slips the medicine into her tea. That same night, Fiona's boyfriend Tom comes to see her. He's happy to hear about the pregnancy and says he'll cancel his plan to join the guard squad so that Fiona stays with him. Meanwhile, Mark comes to check on Lee. Lee shows him his rashes and tells him the truth that he's infected too. Mark reassures him that he'll have a vaccine ready soon. But Lance says he wants his body to be used for research so that his condition can be put to some use. On the other hand, Earl shows his dead friend's body to the others and says the people of Helgoland killed him. Then he tempts them by saying if they reveal the vaccine's location, he'll give them plenty of food. But among them, there's a boy. Earl suspects Spark and flat out says that only Mosick knew the real location of the vaccine, not them. Then, Earl cleverly sends all of Spark's friends away for food so he can talk to Spark alone. That's when Spark makes a deal with him. He'll give info about the vaccine ship, but in return, Earl has to find a way to get him to Helgoland. Spark was sure Earl could sneak him in with the supplies if he wanted to. In the end, Earl agrees. Meanwhile, Mark was really worried about his son Linus. He meets Mayan secretly and explains that they should sneak out with some guards to the spot outside the island where the vaccines are kept because they really need them. But Mayan flat out refuses. She says she can't take any risks without Beatrice's permission since her points have already been cut. She tells Mark they need to convince Beatrice first, but Mark had already heard a no from her. Meanwhile, Henrix is struggling to make sense of this new place. Just then, he asks a girl for some batteries. Henrix tries to get some information in return, but suddenly, some guys jump him and knock him out. When he comes to, he finds himself hanging upside down. Turns out, a gang had caught him because Walima was a member of that gang and Henrix had killed her. To save himself, he lies that he's part of Earl's team. The gang leader isn't fully convinced, but out of fear of Earl, he takes Henrix to him. Earl clearly says Henrix isn't part of his team, so to save his life, Henrix lies again, saying his mom is the leader of Helgoland and that he came here with the guards. But he got lost on the way. If they let him go, he can get a lot of food from his mom. At the same time, he hides the truth about Walima's death, saying she died from a virus. Earl doesn't fully believe him, but still feeds the gang and keeps Henrix with them. His people chain him up. Later, Earl tells him he knows everything, that Henrix was the one who killed Walima and got kicked out of Helgoland. After that, Earl makes him a deal. If Henrix gives all the info about the island, he'll be let go. Otherwise, he'll be tortured to death. Actually, Earl dreams of becoming the leader of Helgoland one day. Meanwhile, there's an important meeting on the island. Beatrice tells everyone that since Hans has died, they need to bring in a new person from outside. So they call the wife of a guy named Alec, who had fixed the water filter system before. After tests, it turns out she's not infected. Then Mark and the other senior folks, they conduct an interview to decide if she's useful for the island or not. She answers all the questions well, and then she gets permission to stay on the island. Alex is really happy about this. Meanwhile, ATN lands a good position at the windmill where his boss is Josem. They build a good relationship, and during this time, ATN finds a bottle of alcohol there, which he shares with Josem. On the other hand, a girl named Danila comes to live on the island and challenges Alex's wife, Casso. Casso is more qualified to stay here. Because of that, they set up an interview between the two. During the questioning, it's revealed that Casso has pharmaceutical training, while Danila claims to be a sergeant. Then, both are asked different kinds of questions and they both answer correctly. But when it comes to voting, Danila gets selected because the island needed a sergeant. So, they decide to send Casso away. Because of this, Alec also wants to leave the island with his wife, but he's not allowed to go. Actually, about 70% of the fresh water on the island comes from filtering seawater. Electric was super important to manage that pipeline system, so they stopped him. He was clearly warned that if he tried to force his way through, he'd be shot, so Electric had no choice but to stay on the island. Meanwhile, Danila arrives on the island by boat with her stuff. But two guys from that gang sneak onto the island hidden in the same boat, and no one notices them. On the other hand, Josem is shown at the windmill sitting all alone. He was getting bored, so he started sneaking off to drink. The next day, El finds out there's a problem with the windmill's engine, so he climbs up to fix it. Josem is watching all this through the security camera. He tries to climb up himself to show El how to do the job, but he's still drunk. He's scared that if he doesn't do the job right, he'll lose points. In his hurry, he starts climbing the ladder, but suddenly he loses his balance and falls down. In the accident, both his legs get badly broken. He's rushed to the hospital right away. The doctors have no choice but to amputate both his legs to stop the infection from spreading throughout his body. Mark is there during the surgery. Meanwhile, when Daniela sees all this, she feels really uncomfortable and can't handle it, so she steps outside. Later, Daniela goes to Mark and reveals a big secret. She says she's not actually a sergeant. During the interview, she had just looked up all the answers in a book. She begs Mark not to tell anyone and asks him to promise. She says she's ready to risk her life to help him with everything. Just then, Jareed shows up and says she overheard their entire conversation. She lashes out at Mark, saying his son Linus is already infected, yet he still hasn't developed a vaccine. She calls Mark a useless doctor and even says Beatrice is foolish for trusting him. She claims that if Mark weren't here, she'd be the one in his place. This sparks a heated argument between Mark and Jareed. Things get so intense that Jareed almost attacks him. That's when Daniela steps in and stops her. She attacks. Seeing things getting worse, when Jareed turns back to try and hit her, Danila attacks him hard on the head. Jareed dies on the spot. If Beatrice finds out about Jareed's death, both Danila and Mark would lose their rankings, and they could even face the death penalty. So, they both dump Jareed's dead body into the sea. Meanwhile, Beatrice goes to Fiona and tells her that her boyfriend Tom didn't join the guard team on time. He's in jail because of what he did. Also, she already knew about Fiona's pregnancy. She tells Fiona to get rid of the baby no matter what because she doesn't want any illegal kids being born on the island. Hearing this, Fiona gets angry. She clearly says that no matter what Beatrice does, she doesn't care about her rules. She also says that Beatrice might seem nice on the outside, but she's not really that way. All her rules are just for her own benefit. Meanwhile, Fiona's parents come to visit Tom in jail. Seeing the scars on his feet, they get really worried. When they ask, Tom dodges the questions, but Alec tells them the truth, that Beatrice has ordered the guards to punish the prisoners harshly. So they're being tortured a lot. Meanwhile, Fiona suddenly gets a sharp stomach pain. When Mark checks her, he tells her she's had a miscarriage. Hearing this, Fiona completely breaks down. On the other hand, Beatrice gets anxious about Jareed's disappearance. To find out the truth, she goes to Mark's clinic where she finds a broken tooth. She finds out that he belongs to Jurid, which clearly shows that he has been murdered. After this, Beatrice goes straight to Mark, but Mark starts laughing weirdly because he knew he was the only doctor on the island. So Beatrice can't do anything against him. Then Beatrice assures him that she will blame Electic in this case so no one suspects Mark. Although Mark feels guilty inside, he stays silent to save his own skin. The next day, Beatrice announces in front of everyone, the jury believes that Alec is the one who killed Jurid. During this, Etienne's wife Lisa supports him and prepares fake documents against Alec, showing them to everyone. This makes everyone believe that he's the real killer. After that, people vote, and most of them are in favor of sentencing Alec to death. Only Fiona and a few of her friends don't vote against him because they know Alec couldn't have done it. Mark also doesn't vote against him. Meanwhile, Josim has become useless, so Etienne is made the new boss in his place. When Josim meets Etienne and Lisa, he realizes that Ethan had deliberately given him alcohol to take his place. But Lisa brushes it off and says he's just thinking the wrong way. If Josim wants, he can still work with them. Slowly, the vibe on the island started to change. Where there was once peace, now death was everywhere. Finally, the day of Alec's punishment arrives. He's taken to the shore and a heavy iron weight is tied to his body. The plan is to kill Alec by drowning him in the sea. And all this on the island, people were standing around watching. Seeing this, Mark felt his heart sinking. He felt really guilty. He immediately went to his son Linus and told him about the mistake he had made. He admitted that he had made a huge error and needed to make amends for it. At that moment, Mark had a flashback to when the virus first started spreading. Back then, people were being taken to safe places away from the city, but Mark's wife was staying at the hospital helping those who were infected. Mark kept calling her, but she doesn't pick up the call. Things were so bad that if Mark hadn't left immediately with Lee, they wouldn't have made it to the safe zone. So, out of desperation, he takes his son and heads to Helgoland Island with the others. After that day, Mark never sees his wife again, and she probably got infected with the virus too. Slowly, thousands of people start settling on that island. There was only one supermarket there where Beatrice worked. One day, even though Mark had no money, he goes there to get food for his son. That's when Beatrice gives it to him for free. He gives away some supplies. Meanwhile, he meets Nurse Laura, and together they start a small hospital. On the other hand, Beatrice proposes a new system to control the food and water supply on the island. She had great leadership skills and could plan everything well. She explains to everyone that each person should get a limited amount of supplies so no one can buy extra just because they have more money, ensuring everyone gets a fair share. Everyone likes her idea, and gradually people start lining up to get their share of essential supplies. After a while, Beatrice comes up with another plan. She meets a high-ranking officer and says that if proper leadership is provided, people are given work according to their abilities, and strict rules are enforced, this place can be developed just like the cities outside. Her ideas impress the officer a lot, and he joins her team. After that, Beatrice implements several plans that improve the island's management. People start liking her, and gradually, her popularity kept growing. Over time, Beatrice became so powerful that the people on the island chose her as their leader themselves. Slowly, she took control over every system. From the hospital to all other places, she even brought Mark onto her team during this period. By now, the island's population had grown so much that managing anything properly had become really tough. Beatrice realized that if things stayed this way, she would lose her power soon. So she told Laura that she had spoken to a geographer. According to this, considering the island's capacity, resources, and food supply, only 513 people can comfortably live here. That's why Betis decides that no matter what, only 513 people will be allowed on the island. She asks Laura and Mark for help and explains her entire plan to them. At first, they aren't willing. But because of the benefits offered and their poor condition, they reluctantly agree. After that, they start dealing with the dead bodies of infected people washing up on the shore. They remove the virus through injections. Then, when people from the island come near the treatment area, he cleverly injects the same infection into their bodies. Slowly, most of the island's people get infected. Meanwhile, Beatrice and her close group stay completely safe. After that, a list of the infected people is made. And when only 513 healthy people remain on the island, all the infected are kicked out. This is how the real story of Helgoland Island begins. Now back in the present, Mark tells his son Lise the whole truth. He did all this just to save her. He admits that he made a really selfish decision. Then he tells Linus that he can't live with all this pain anymore. So Mark is going to tell everyone on the island the whole truth. Mark also asks Laura for help, and she agrees to bring the truth out too. Just then, Daniela tells Mark not to worry because Earl is coming here with his entire team and he's going to be the new leader of this place. Daniela says she's part of Earl's team herself, and Earl is the good guy is the one who will bring justice to the island. She also mentions that Earl is bringing a vaccine along which could cure Lee. Meanwhile, Earl, with Spark's help, reaches the ship where the vaccine and a big lab are located. Seeing all this, he feels really happy and sets off for Helgoland with his entire team. It seemed like a fresh start was about to happen in Helgoland, and with that, the series comes to an end. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe.